Hello, welcome to the Jerome Bee Farm. It's July 29th, 2017, and I haven't done a video in a while. It's been really hot, so what I do is I get down here, do my business, and get out. So it's been unbearable. So last time I was down here, last weekend, I did some Varroa treatments. I used Mite Away quick strips in these hives right in here. Then I had Hop Guard 2 I used on the rest of the hives. I wanted to go ahead and use that up. I'd had it a while, so I didn't want to let it sit around another year. I do have a oxalic acid vaporizer that I used last year. I like it, but it's slow, so I thought to get the job done quick I'd use that. So when I was putting the oxalic acid pads in, one of these 4 hives I noticed has a serious problem, and let's see if you can figure out which one just by looking at the fronts. So obviously the 2 on the ends have quite a bit of activity. These 2 right here don't have quite as much, and this guy here doesn't have much at all. So what I found in here is I couldn't find a queen. I found some swarm cells, and I couldn't tell that any of the swarm cells had been cut out, you know, like a queen had emerged, and it's full of drone brood. So looks to me like it swarmed. The queen, virgin queen, did not make it back from a mating flight, or maybe never even emerged, I don't know. And the workers started laying. So this thing is full of laying workers, and the few workers that are left still maintaining the hive. So what they've done is they've filled it up with honey where the queen should have been laying. So what I'm going to do, because it's so late in the year, I'm not going to mess with putting a queen in here. This hive's a lost cause, and I will break into it here in a minute and show you what's in there. But I'm going to do a newspaper combine. I'm going to split this hive up into 2 sections, equal honey and pollen or whatever's in there, and empties. And I have 2 hives that are ready to go to another deep, but it's really too late in the year to add an empty deep and have them pull that out, because they probably wouldn't get it done, and I'd wind up having to take it off anyway. So this hive here is full, and it's ready for a second deep. And one over there that I put this super on, this super is actually from this queenless hive here that I'm talking about. So I put that over there just to maintain the comb that's in there so it didn't get wax moths in it. So they're really not putting any honey up there. They're up there protecting that comb. So I'm going to move those 2 deeps onto these 2 single hives, and with a newspaper combine. Then, if you've been watching my videos, I have this hive back here I call the tiny swarm. So it does have a mated queen in there. They moved into this nuke box, and I got a queen going in there. So I'm going to pack her up and move her over to the site where I'm pulling the laying worker boxes off of, because it'll be vacant. I'm also going to build some double nuke boxes, so you can keep 2 nukes in 1 box, so you can overwinter them that way, and I might make a video on that. So, but first things first, I'm going to get the deeps off of this hive here and newspaper combine them and take care of this hive, because it's basically done for. So I'm going to set up the tripod on here and break into that sucker, get my smoker lit, and get started. Okay, the last time I was in this hive was July 29th before I had done anything else, and the last time after that I looked at it was August 20th, so I went almost a full month without checking on this hive. That's because it had a honey super on it, and I was watching how much honey they produced. And they basically did not make any honey, so what happened was they got honey bound. They built this top brood box full of honey, and the queen had nowhere to lay anymore, and she swarmed. So that's what happened. So I should have been watching this top box and gave them a little more space in there, and maybe they would have worked their way up into the super. But August 20th is when I found the laying queen, and there was a swarm cell in there, and I went and checked it later, actually yesterday, and those swarm cells don't have anything in them. So it's time to take action. Cockroach. So there's really quite a few bees in here. So they still have a useful purpose, and we're about to have goldenrod start blooming, and there's a lot of bees in here that can still forage and bring back honey. So I don't want to lose that, and I don't want to lose all this comb in here. It's really too late, I feel like, to introduce a queen, buy a queen, go through all that, or try and produce a queen. So I'm just gonna, cut bait and let's go and clean this sucker out and move it to where it can be useful. So you can see there's not a bad population of bees in here. It's just not full strength. And all these bees are probably pretty old. So their lifespan isn't going to last much longer. Get these beetle traps out of here so I don't spew mineral oil everywhere, or vegetable oil. Got me some new gloves on order. These got a big old hole in them right there. Any of you tough guys want to come help me work my bees without gloves, come on. You'll go home crying, I guarantee you. There's a hive over there, that one I got from Pocasset. Those country bees, man, you don't mess with them. They will light you up. Okay, so you can see where there was brood here. Now they're back filling it with nectar. Same thing here. Drone, there's some drone brood. They're filling up all this brood chamber space with honey. Same thing. All this is full of uncapped nectar, and that's capped honey. This was brood at one time. Same thing here. You can see these remaining cells here. They're drone cells. So the queen was failing, laying drones, and it went so long without a queen, all the worker brood hatched out, and there's workers in here laying now. And the reason I know that is I found comb that has multiple eggs in it, and that was right here, but they've cleaned them out, so there's no eggs there now. That was full of eggs, and there were multiple eggs per cell, and they've cleaned them out for whatever reason. Maybe they figured out their drones. When I find a good one here, I'll do a close-up. There we go. So see how you have drone cells and they're dispersed around. That's either queen failed and was laying drones or laying worker. So I don't know if you can see inside any cells around there. I'll get in close. There may still be some eggs in there. Anyway, so those are drones. There's no workers being laid in here. No, there's no eggs. But see, all of that should be brood. It's all full of nectar now. So all these bees that were left did their job and they went and filled it up because there wasn't a queen there to put eggs in it. So some of you may be saying, well, why don't you just put a frame of brood in there with eggs and they'll pull out a queen off of that? Well, since there's laying workers, they think they've got a queen and they won't pull a queen off of fresh eggs. Here we go. This is what I thought I had earlier, but it wasn't. So in there are multiple eggs. Let me change exposure. You might be able to see them in there. There are multiple eggs in those combs right there. If you can't see them, take my word for it. But see, those are turning into drones? That's a laying worker symptom right there, big time. So some people will say, well, go shake out all the bees on the ground. The laying workers won't find their way back if you shake them out far enough away. Field bees will all come back and then put in a frame of eggs. That don't work. I've tried it. I've heard from people that have done research on it and they say it's been proven it doesn't work. So here's the swarm cells. There's some jelly in there, but there's no larvae. See in there? There's no little queens being formed in there. They're empty, and they do have a little bit of royal jelly in them. One of them did. They're acting like they're waiting for the queen to come fill it up, you know, and it ain't gonna happen because there's no queen. So again here, failed queen or laying worker pattern, but I think it's laying workers. So, and they're filling that in with honey too. See the shiny spots in there. So when these drones hatch out, if these get put onto a new hive where there is a laying queen, those bees will work this out, straighten this up, and this could be used for a queen to lay and fill that out. Same thing. This has eggs. So this is definitely laying workers. In here, there are cells that have multiple eggs. The eggs aren't centered. If you can't see them, trust me, they're there. There's no queen in this hive. So Take a mental picture of that. Drones, no worker brood. That's a failed queen and you've got laying workers. Your hive is doomed. This frame here is full of honey. So I can use some of these honey frames in some of my other hives that are a little weaker and lightweight and boost them up a little bit because we're fixing to go into winter. I'm going to pause the video now. I'm going to pull these off, set them back here on this stand, and I'm going to sort through them and figure out how I want these dispersed. And then I'm going to go do newspaper combines on the other two hives. And you can see all the drone. No good. But this is good comb. So once those drones all hatch out, this will be good comb for brood nests and or honey. So what I want to do, I want at least 3 frames in the center of each one of these that doesn't have a bunch of honey in it, so the queen from the donor or the receiving hive can move up in here and start laying and straightening this out. This box here is mostly honey in the center because it was on top. Full of eggs, duplicate eggs. Making drones. This frame is all honey right here, so I'm going to leave it. By the way, I pulled out 2 frames of honey out of here and I moved them over to a hive over there that didn't have much weight to it. So here's honey outside. This is a brood, it can go in the middle. Heavy. Put it on the outside. I'm going to rotate it though. So most of the honey is to that direction where the bees are going to be. If we were in the spring, I wouldn't do that, but since it's fall, I want the honey close to the bees. Close to where the cluster will be. This is empty, so I'm going to put it on the outside. So I got 4 brood frames that don't have honey in them right there. This is the same brood frame. These are honey down here, so I'm going to pull them up. Put them on the outside. You move frames fast like that, you smash bees, they get upset. And this is why you wear gloves. Now they're ready to go. So something you notice, all these field bees hanging out here trying to figure out what they're going to do. So I probably could go ahead and get that nuke and move over here now, and all these field bees would go in there and boost that nuke up with that tiny swarm. Then I'd lose the tiny swarm field bees, which is not near as many as these. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do after I get these other hives to do the newspaper combine. Okay, this is my nice Wildflower Meadows queen from last year. Got a couple more videos about her and two princess queens that I pulled off of her this year that look almost exactly like her, just a little bit lighter colored. She's a really good queen. See, this hive's basically full. It's ready for the second deep. Pull these up and I'm going to put them on top. These are Beetle Blaster small hive beetle traps. See the little black dots in there? Those are drowned hive beetles. These are the Hop Guard 2 mite treatment. This is a organic treatment that you can use with honey supers if you want to. Put the newspaper on here. Looks like we got the Oklahoma City Thunder right here. Man, this is old. So what you do is you make a few little cuts. That helps them get started. So the newspaper keeps the bees from interacting immediately and attacking each other. This gives them a slow introduction. Okay, that's all there is to it. So in a week's time, be able to come back and take that paper out, and these hives will be combined, so their population will morph into one. Now I'm going to go here and do the next one. Going right here where this one with the super, that super's going to go. I'm not sure where, but it's going to go. I don't know, I might leave it. For you beekeepers that I see putting your supers on the ground, don't do that. Here's how you do it. You set your lid on the ground, upside down. See, there is nothing going on in here. Just a bunch of empty frames. Some hive beetles. So you just pull it off and set it on your hive lid like that. Not on the ground, people. See all the beetles in that one? They work. Okay, this next one's heavy. Get the bees down so I don't push on them with the paper. There's Bob Stoops, he's fixing to get a bunch of bees in his face. Poor guy. Okay, that's it for this video. Even though it's only in the 70s, it's humid and I'm sweating like crazy. And one thing you should always do is wear a good sweatband. Keep the sweat out of your eyes. I'm going to go ahead and continue. I'm going to pull this my tiny swarm and I'm going to move it over there where all those field bees are coming in, and I'm going to make it a double deep 5-frame nuke, and I'm going to overwinter it like that. If I had a deep that was painted and ready to go, I would put them in that and move it over there, but I do not have any ready to go. So that is it. If you have any questions, put them down below. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'm almost to 50 subscribers now, which is amazing. It is to me anyway. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.